Hey guys, tonight you wake up in a world that is nothing like the comfortable bed and cozy room you know. It's the year 1325, and your reality is a far cry from anything pleasant. Your bed. Imagine a heap of half-rotted straw, damp and dirty, crawling with fleas and bugs who see you as their personal buffet. There's no memory foam, no fluffy pillows, no soft sheets. Instead, you lie beneath a heavy wool blanket, crusted with months of sweat, dirt, and grime so heavy it feels like it's weighing you down like a small calf resting on your back. The smell? It's a rancid mix of barnyard, sweat, smoke, and decay that punches you in the face the moment you open your eyes. Before you let this nightmare settle in too much, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I'm curious where around the globe we're sharing this midnight history lesson. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that gentle hum. And let's ease into this journey. You blink awake to the harsh clang of the church bell, a medieval alarm clock with zero mercy. No snooze button, no soft melody. Just a loud clang that shakes you from your uneasy slumber. Your home is a cramped, wooden hut. One room only. No windows to let the light in. Just a door that creaks open and shut, letting in the biting cold. It's an open concept space where your entire family, the chickens squawking in the corner, the pigs snorting, and a plague of fleas and lice all squeezed together with you. Privacy is a forgotten concept here. You lie there, itching as fleas jump and bite, your skin crawling under the wool blanket that hasn't been washed in months. You try to rise, but every movement is sticky and uncomfortable. The walls of your hut are thin and drafty, letting in every chill of the morning air and every creak of the neighboring huts. You're never alone, not just in company, but literally surrounded by parasites. Historians still argue whether medieval people simply accepted these conditions or were constantly tormented by them. But you know the scratching is real and relentless. Remember the last time you felt truly clean? Probably never. Washing clothes is a luxury beyond your reach. Without a washing machine or even soap, clothes are scrubbed laboriously by hand, using boiling water and rough stones when you can manage it at all. Soap is rare and expensive, made from animal fat and ashes, leaving your skin dry and cracked. Baths. They're a rich person's indulgence. For you, water sources are often rivers or barrels full of rainwater that birds and insects pollute without mercy. Bathing risks illness and chills, so most avoid it. Your stomach rumbles, but you know breakfast won't be much better. Forget eggs, bacon, or fresh coffee. You get a bowl of pottage, a thick, gloopy stew made from whatever grains, roots, and scraps you could scavenge. Sometimes it's barely edible, tasting like mud scraped from a boot. Still, you eat it because hunger dulls any complaints. The day outside is harsh. You must work the fields under a blazing sun with no sunscreen, no hats except for some straw you manage to weave. The heat is relentless, and heat stroke is called taking a bad turn, a phrase often whispered as people fall and never rise again. At night, mosquitoes buzz near your ear, babies cry, neighbors shout, and disease lurks everywhere. Water is a gamble. You drink from barrels open to the sky, breeding grounds for insects and full of bird droppings. Each sip is a risk. Contaminated water brings cholera, dysentery, or worse. Disease is the deadliest enemy, more feared than any lord or rival. Medicine is little better leeches suck your blood. Bloodletting weakens you, and prayers fill the gaps where knowledge is lacking. If you survive treatment, it's by God's grace. Religion controls your life. The church calendar rules everything when you eat, work, marry, and die. Missing Mass isn't just frowned upon, it's dangerous. Your neighbors watch and report you. and the priest holds power over your fate. Crime is punished brutally. Stealing bread might cost you a hand. Lying could mean a pierced tongue. Gossip might earn you the scold's bridle, a terrifying iron mask to silence and shame. Children die young half, don't make it to 5. Survivors grow into exhausted adults with worn joints, missing teeth, scars, and a weary spirit. Women face the added terror of childbirth with no medicine. Even nobles suffer misery in drafty castles infested with fleas and filled with political plots. After a long day, you collapse onto your bug-ridden bed, aching and itching. Sleep comes fitfully, and you wonder how you manage to survive one more day. Tomorrow, it all begins again. Honestly, you probably wouldn't last a day in medieval times. You stumble out of your miserable straw bed, already feeling the prickling bites of fleas and lice that call your wool blanket home. The sharp clang of the church bell still echoes in your ears, reminding you that the day has begun and there's no rest for the weary. You shuffle over to the door of your wooden hut, a cramped, one-room shack with thin timber walls patched with mud and dung. The cold morning air rushes in as you open it, and the chill bites through your thin tunic and worn leather boots. Inside, your family is stirring. Your siblings rub their eyes and cough softly, their small faces pale and streaked with dirt. Your mother tends to the meager fire, coaxing it to life with sticks and dried grass. Smoke fills the hut, stinging your eyes and making it hard to breathe. But it's the only source of warmth and light you have. The floor beneath your feet is packed earth, uneven and cold, littered with bits of straw, animal droppings, and whatever scraps have fallen during the night. You carefully avoid stepping in the mud and filth as you move about. The air is thick with the mixed scents of sweat, smoke, animal musk, and rot, the unmistakable stench of medieval survival. Your home is shared not only with your family, but also with the animals you depend on. Chickens cluck nervously in a corner, pigs grunt as they root through the dirt, and rats scurry beneath your feet, looking for food scraps. Privacy is non-existent. Walls so thin you can hear every whispered argument, every cough, every baby's wail. The noise is constant, a cacophony of life, struggle, and endurance. Your straw mattress is little better than a bug sanctuary. Fleas jump incessantly, biting and crawling across your skin, making sleep fitful at best. You rub your arms and legs, but the relief is temporary. Your wool blanket, heavy and filthy, offers little comfort or warmth. It smells of sweat and smoke and hasn't been washed in months. You pull on your coarse wool tunic, scratchy and stiff, stained with dirt and sweat. Underneath, if you're lucky, a linen undershirt offers slight relief, but many go without. Your boots are cracked leather, stiff and thin-soled from years of wear. Socks are a rare luxury. Your feet are often blistered, dirty, and cold. The muddy yard outside your hut is alive with activity despite the hardships. Children chase chickens and wrestle in the dirt, their laughter a brief escape from the relentless toil. Your youngest sibling coughs softly, a haunting reminder of the sickness lurking close. Your parents' faces are drawn and tired, etched with lines from years of hard labor and worry. Their hands, cracked and calloused, bear testament to endless days spent tending fields, animals, and home. You swat at the fleas and mice, feeling a wave of hopelessness wash over you. Each morning brings the same relentless scratching, biting, and itching. Sleep is broken, interrupted by pests and the constant hum of insects. You wonder how anyone could endure such conditions day after day, year after year. In some homes, superstition offers a sliver of hope against these hardships. People hide witch bottles beneath floorboards or hearths containers filled with urine, nails, and other oddities believed to ward off evil spirits or curses. Whether these were common practices or isolated folk beliefs remains debated among historians, but they reveal the deep fear and uncertainty that colored medieval life. You settle back on your straw mattress as the fire sputters low. Flea bites burn your skin, your limbs ache from yesterday's labor, and the chill creeps in. Yet within this cramped hut, despite the filth and discomfort, you find fleeting moments of solace, the warmth of family, the comfort of shared struggle, and the fragile hope that tomorrow might be better. Outside, the wind howls, rattling loose boards and carrying the distant howl of wolves. You pull your blanket tighter, seeking warmth in a world that offers little. This hut, humble and broken, is your entire world a fragile refuge in the unforgiving medieval landscape. Life here is raw, relentless, and brutal. And every day, you wake knowing that survival is your only victory. The morning sun climbs higher, and with it comes the realization that comfort is a stranger to your world. You step outside, the rough earth cold and damp beneath your feet. The air smells of damp straw, smoke, and the faintly sweet rot of manure. The village is waking. Smoke curls from chimneys made of sticks and clay. Neighbors begin their routines, some tending to livestock, others preparing rudimentary tools for the fields. Children with dirty faces dart through muddy lanes, their laughter piercing the heavy morning air. Your eyes adjust to the light, but the village feels shadowed by hardship. The communal spaces are cluttered with refuse and scraps remnants of meals, broken tools, discarded clothing. Rubbish piles collect near wells and along dirt roads, attracting swarms of flies and vermin. There is no sanitation system. Waste is tossed in the streets or into pits near homes. During rains, these pits overflow, turning paths into muddy cesspools. Disease lurks in every corner, a constant threat that claims many lives before they reach adulthood. The fields stretch before you, the backbone of your village's survival and your daily labor. They are patchworks of muddy earth and sparse crops, growing under the unforgiving sun or drenched by cold rains. You know the toil ahead will be long and exhausting. You prepare to join others heading to the fields. Your hands, rough and calloused, grip a wooden hoe with familiarity. The tool is heavy, its handle worn smooth by generations of use. You'll spend hours bent over, breaking the soil, planting, weeding, and hoping for a harvest that will see you through winter. There is no rest for the weary. The sun beats down mercilessly, and you have no sunscreen or hat, save for a roughly woven straw bonnet that barely shields your face. Your skin will blister and burn, and heat stroke is a silent killer, whispered about, but little understood. The work is grueling and relentless. Every muscle aches, every joint protests, and fatigue creeps into your bones. Yet you push forward, survival depends on it. At midday, you pause briefly to eat whatever food you have, often a piece of coarse bread or leftover pottage. Water is scarce and often contaminated. You drink sparingly, knowing that each gulp might bring illness. As the day drags on, the sounds of labor surround you, the clatter of tools, the murmur of voices, the bleating of sheep, and the distant bark of dogs. Life in the village is a constant rhythm of work, survival, and fleeting moments of community. Despite the hardships, there is a strange resilience here. People share what they have, care for one another, and find joy in simple pleasures. Stories are told around fires, songs sung during harvests, and laughter shared among friends. Yet beneath this, the shadow of death is ever present. Child mortality is high. Many will not see their 5th birthday. Disease is rampant, and medicine is crude and often ineffective. Each day lived is a small victory. As evening falls, you return to your hut, exhausted and worn. The fire provides warmth, but the cold settles in quickly. Mosquitoes buzz near your ear, and the scratching of fleas reminds you that rest will be uneasy. You lie down, the straw mattress biting into your back, the wool blanket heavy and itchy. Sleep is fitful, filled with dreams of better days, but haunted by the realities of the world you live in. Tomorrow, the cycle will begin anew. You are a survivor of a harsh, unforgiving world, one where comfort is rare, and survival is the only goal. And though you probably wouldn't last a day in medieval times, here you are. Night falls, and with it comes a quietness that is almost eerie. The village settles under a blanket of stars, but the night brings little peace. The cold seeps into every crack and crevice, and the howling wind rattles the fragile wooden huts. You lie awake, listening to the distant calls of animals and the occasional murmur of restless neighbors. The fleas continue their feast, and the itchiness never quite lets you forget where you are. Sleep eventually comes, shallow and broken, but it is a respite nonetheless. And when dawn comes again, you will wake to this same harsh reality, ready to face the battle for survival once more. The moment your body demands relief, you remember medieval bathrooms are a fantasy of the future, far removed from your grim reality. There's no flushing toilet, no seat, no gentle rinse of running water. Instead, you squat over a crudely dug pit latrine, or worse, simply step outside behind the nearest bush, surrounded by the stench of refuse and decay. Privacy. Forget it. Your neighbors might be watching, or worse, laughing at your discomfort. Hygiene is a luxury that doesn't exist here. Toilet paper? Nope. You wipe with whatever's handy leaves, straw, or your own sleeve, none of which offers much comfort. The stench is overwhelming, a pungent mix of human waste, mud, rotting vegetation, and the ever-present smell of animal dung. Flies swarm, buzzing relentlessly, landing on every surface. It's a nightmare your nose can't escape. Water to wash your hands. Rarely, you might find a small basin of rainwater or a bowl passed around for communal use, but soap is practically non-existent. You wipe your hands on your already grimy clothes, knowing full well you've just spread germs. Historians still debate how medieval people understood disease transmission, but it's clear sanitation was abysmal. Epidemics like the plague and dysentery thrived in these conditions. Every day, you roll the dice with your health. Water barrels, your primary source of drinking water, are open to the sky, inviting birds to perch and defecate freely. Mosquito larvae hatch in the stagnant water, adding disease to the mix. Drinking this water could mean your final days spent writhing in agony on that filthy straw mattress. Some medieval folks believed that bathing opened the body to bad air miasma thought to cause sickness. So many avoided washing altogether, preferring filth to vulnerability. Communal bathhouses existed but were rare, and sometimes associated with sin and scandal. Sewage was dumped in the streets, which during rain became rivers of human waste. Children played amid the filth. Adults dodged it as best they could. Rats thrived in this environment, spreading fleas that carried the plague. Despite the horrors, life went on. You eat, work, socialize, all while surrounded by the stench of waste and decay. Your hands, the dirtiest part of your body, touch everything food, tools, faces without thought, spreading invisible killers with every movement. You try to wash your hands with water, but without soap, it's a feeble attempt. More ritual than cleaning. It's no wonder life expectancy was low. If you survived childhood, you still faced a world of grime, sickness, and death lurking in every corner. Next time you grumble about a slow drain or a clogged toilet, remember medieval people were lucky to have any toilet at all. The sun climbs higher, and with it, your discomfort grows. After the unpleasant business of going, you attempt to prepare yourself for the day's work. The smell lingers, a constant reminder of your vulnerable human body trapped in this harsh environment. Your neighbors exchange tales of who fell ill last week, whose child succumbed to fever, who barely escaped the clutches of dysentery. There is no doctor, no nurse, only superstition and the hope for divine mercy. You pull your worn tunic close, the fabric stiff and itchy. Your breath forms small clouds in the chilly morning air, mixing with the pungent odors that never fully leave the village. Despite the squalor and constant threat of disease, the community clings together. Villagers share knowledge, food, and comfort in the only ways they know. Children play amid the muck, oblivious to the dangers. At midday, you pause briefly, your hands dirty, your clothes stained, your spirit weighed down by the endless cycle of filth and hardship. You work, eat, rest, and repeat, all the while knowing that each day survived is a small victory in this unforgiving world. Historians still argue whether medieval people lived in resigned acceptance or fought constantly against these conditions. Probably a bit of both. As evening approaches, the village settles into a fitful calm. You return home, the stench clinging to you like a second skin. You lie down on your bug-infested mattress, wondering how much longer you can endure this endless battle. And tomorrow it all starts again. You settle down near the fire, hungry, but knowing well that your morning meal won't be a feast. Instead, you're served a wooden bowl filled with pottage, a thick, muddy stew made from whatever grains, root vegetables, and scraps could be gathered. The steam rises, carrying an earthy, slightly sour aroma that does little to tempt your appetite. There's no sizzling bacon or fresh coffee here. No eggs, Benedict, or avocado toast to brighten your morning. Instead, you scoop the gloopy stew into your mouth, grimacing as you bite into occasional bits of gritty root or fragments of overcooked barley. Sometimes, you catch a bit of dried fish or a sliver of salted meat, a rare treat. Mostly, it's bland, coarse, and barely nourishing. You sit on a rough wooden bench or squat by the fire, the heat a small comfort against the lingering morning chill. Around you, the village awakens fully the sound of women grinding grain, children chasing chickens, and men readying themselves for a day's labor fills the air. Life is a communal struggle, shared between hardship and hope. Pottage is the backbone of medieval peasant diets across Europe, with regional variations depending on what grows locally. Some add wild herbs or fresh greens when available, but the essence remains a simple, filling mush. Historians still debate whether people learned to enjoy their food or simply endured hunger until it dulled their senses. Occasionally, a small sip of weak ale or mead accompanies the meal. Alcoholic drinks were safer than water, as fermentation killed harmful bacteria. Your morning drink might be warm and sour, but preferable to the risk of drinking from a contaminated stream or barrel. As you eat, your mind drifts to the long day ahead, hours bent over fields, tending crops, or caring for animals under the blazing sun or cold rain. The work is exhausting and unending, but necessary. Each meal, no matter how poor, fuels your fight to survive another day. You think of the folk remedies and beliefs that surround food, certain roots or herbs believed to protect against evil or illness. Such superstitions add a layer of meaning to meals beyond mere survival. Your stomach still rumbles when the meal ends. You wipe your hands on your tunic and prepare to face the day. In moments like these, amidst hunger and hardship, you glimpse the resilience and quiet strength that define medieval life. As the morning sun climbs, the village buzzes with activity. Children with dirty, sunburned faces dart through muddy lanes, while women gather at wells, fetching water and gossiping softly. Men head toward the fields, tools in hand, ready to battle the earth for whatever it will yield. The smell of wood smoke and baking bread lingers in the air, mingling with the earthy scent of tilled soil. Despite the poverty and filth, life goes on with a rhythm forged by necessity and endurance. The simplicity of your meal belies the complexity of your day, a balancing act of labor, survival, and fleeting moments of community and joy. You chew slowly, savoring the warmth of the pottage, however modest. Each spoonful is a small victory, a buffer against the grinding hunger that gnaws at your insides. Remember that crocodile dung sunscreen. It might sound strange today, but medieval people experimented with all manner of remedies, some bizarre, others surprisingly effective in their quest to cope with the harsh world. You rise from your spot, ready to join the toil, the fire crackling softly behind you. The village hums with life, a testament to human endurance in the face of relentless hardship. The scratchy wool tunic you pull over your shoulders isn't just uncomfortable, it's a constant reminder of your status and the relentless hardships of your life. There's no fashion here, no gentle fabrics or soft textures. Your clothes are heavy, rough, and stained, stitched together by hands that know only survival sewing, not art or style. The fabric smells of sweat, smoke, and the faint odor of animals. It's thick enough to protect you somewhat from the chill and the thorns in the fields, but it also traps dirt and grime against your skin. You scratch at the constant itch, the wool fibers prickling like needles. Washing clothes is an exhausting and infrequent task. Without running water or modern soaps, you haul cold water from the well or river, boil it over a fire, and scrub your garments against rough stones or wooden paddles. Soap is a luxury, often made from animal fat and ashes, harsh on both fabric and skin. Your shoes are worn leather, cracked and thin-soled. Socks are a rarity. Most go barefoot or wear simple wraps to protect their feet. Your feet are blistered and muddy from endless hours walking on uneven, muddy terrain. Despite all this, you mend and patch your clothes carefully. Fabric is precious and hard to come by. Each patch tells a story, a scratch from a thorn bush, a tear from a barn door, or the wear of years of labor. Some odd medieval practices include using dried animal dung as a form of deodorant or insect repellent, a testament to the resourcefulness and desperation born of your environment. Your clothes are armor, your protection against the relentless world, rough, dirty, but essential. You step outside, the sun warming the wool layers, heavy but necessary. Your garments tell the story of your struggle and endurance, a fabric woven with hardship and resilience. Life in your village moves on around you. Children chase each other through mud puddles, their laughter a brief reprieve from the daily grind. Neighbors trade stories, tools, and what little food they can spare. Despite the poverty, there is a fierce pride and stubborn joy in your community. The local tailor is a rare figure, traveling between villages to mend clothes, a precious service exchanged for coins or barter. You dream of softer, cleaner garments, but that dream feels distant. You pull your tunic tighter and brace yourself against the day's challenges, ready to face whatever hardships come your way. The sun sets slowly, casting long shadows over the village. You return home, tired and worn, your clothes soaked in sweat and dust. The wool is heavy on your skin as you enter your cramped hut. You look forward to the warmth of the fire and the brief comfort of your family's presence. Your patched tunic and worn boots speak of a life defined by endurance, not ease. Tonight, you rest beneath your scratchy blanket, your clothes smelling faintly of smoke and earth, your body aching but still fighting. Tomorrow, you rise again, wrapped in the same rough wool, ready to survive another day. Your teeth ache constantly, a dull, gnawing pain that shadows every bite, every sip, every word you speak. Dental care is non-existent in this world. No toothbrushes, no fluoride treatments, no dentists. Just you, your worn teeth, and the relentless march of decay. Your diet coarse bread, gritty porridge. Tough roots wears down your enamel with every chew. Cavities and infections flourish unchecked. Toothaches are so common they are accepted as part of life's background noise. If you're lucky, a village healer might attempt an extraction with crude tools. but more often than not, you endure the pain silently. Sugar, though rare and reserved for the wealthy, is making its way into small cakes and dishes among the rich, accelerating their dental ruin. For peasants, fermented bread and rough grains cause slow but steady decay. Historians debate how aware medieval people were of sugar's destructive power, but skeletons tell the truth: rampant dental disease. Women suffer more frequent pregnancies, weaken gums and teeth, and chronic pain is common. Remedies range from applying crushed herbs to bizarre concoctions like mouse brains ground into toothpaste. While these may sound horrifying today, they were desperate attempts at relief. Despite the pain, bad teeth carry no shame. They're a badge of survival in a brutal world. You grit your jaw against the ache and carry on, knowing rest won't come until the day's work is done. Your grandmother once told stories of a cousin who lost half his teeth by age 30. His speech slurred and his face gaunt. The pain robbed him of joy, but he worked until he couldn't. The village healer's tools, pliers, and knives are terrifying reminders of limited medical knowledge. Your mouth tastes bitter and metallic. Infections lurk. Miracles are rare, and suffering is common. Historians argue whether people saw pain as divine punishment or simply endured because they had no choice. You rise again, jaw throbbing, ready to face another day in this unforgiving world. Your mouth is more than a tool for eating. It's a battleground where survival is etched into every ache, every missing tooth, every infection fought against without anesthesia or hope of cure. Each bite is a victory over pain. Each word spoken a triumph. You carry this pain silently, a hidden burden shared by all who live in this relentless time. And yet, life continues. Tomorrow, you'll wake to the ache again. You wake before dawn, the chill already seeping through the cracks of your wooden hut. As a woman in this world, your day begins long before the sun rises and often ends well after it sets. There's no rest from the endless cycle of chores that fill your hours: cooking, cleaning, spinning wool, tending animals, caring for children. The idea of leisure or personal time is a distant luxury you've never known. Your hands are rough and calloused from endless work, your back aching from bending over the hearth and fields. You cradle a crying child while preparing a meager breakfast of pottage, the baby's wails mingling with the noise of chickens and pigs outside. Your husband's lice infestation spreads silently, a shared misery you silently endure. By age 5, your children are expected to help. There's no school, no toys, only small wooden tools, and the weight of survival pressed upon their tiny shoulders. Their innocence is a brief flicker before they join the ranks of laborers and caregivers. You watch your daughters learn the harsh arts of spinning and sewing, their fingers raw from the coarse wool. Sons shadow their fathers in the fields, their faces already weathered by sun and wind. Your dreams are filled with hopes of your children's survival, their escape from the relentless hardships that define your own life. Yet, you know the odds are grim. The flu, malnutrition, and accidents claim many too soon. Despite everything, you find moments of joy in small things: a child's laughter, a shared meal, a whispered prayer. These are your treasures in a world that gives little. Historians argue about the status and agency of women in medieval times. While many faced hardship, some wielded influence within households and communities, navigating a world stacked against them with resilience and cunning. Your role is unending, your strength often unseen but vital. As night falls, you collapse into your bed, body weary but spirit unbroken. Tomorrow, the cycle begins anew. Your children rise early too, their hands dirty and faces smudged with earth. They play briefly, their laughter echoing through the village, but soon their small bodies are put to work. There's no childhood as you know it. Survival is their only education. The village depends on every hand. Children tend to animals, fetch water, gather firewood. Their tiny bodies carry the weight of a world without safety nets. You watch them grow, knowing their childhood is fragile, their future uncertain. Your heart aches with love and fear. You prepare your family for another day in a world that demands strength beyond years. As darkness falls, you gather with other women, sharing stories and strength by the fire. Your bonds are lifelines, offering comfort and solidarity. Your day ends as it began with work, care, and survival. You are the backbone of your family, a quiet hero in a harsh world. And though the challenges are great, your spirit remains unyielding. Tomorrow waits, and so do you. You step outside, the morning chill biting at your exposed skin as you make your way to the village. Well, water, the essence of life, is also a source of peril in your world. The barrels and cisterns collecting rainwater are open to the sky, inviting birds to perch and defecate freely. Insects breed in the stagnant water, turning each sip into a roll of the dice. You dip your wooden bucket carefully, avoiding the surface where larvae wriggle and moss clings. The water is murky, tinged with earthy colors, and smells faintly of decay. Despite this, it's your only option. Drinking this water means risking diseases like cholera, dysentery, and typhoid illnesses that sweep through villages with devastating speed. You've seen neighbors fall ill, their bodies weakened by fever and cramps, sometimes never recovering. You wash your hands briefly, knowing full well that the water is far from clean. Soap is a rarity, and without it, washing offers only minimal protection. Historians still debate how medieval people understood these risks. Some believed bad air caused sickness, while others attributed disease to divine punishment. Whatever the belief, the reality was grim. You clutch your bucket, feeling the weight of survival in your hands. Each drop is precious, yet carries unseen threats. Back in your hut, you pour the water into a basin for washing vegetables and cleaning dishes. The same water will be used for drinking, cooking, and bathing. Contamination is inevitable. Despite this, life goes on. You drink, bathe, and cook with this water, hoping your body will resist the invisible dangers. At night, you listen to the buzzing of mosquitoes near your window, knowing that many carry deadly illnesses. Water, the source of life, is also a constant gamble. You marvel at the resilience of your body, fighting unseen enemies every day. The sun climbs higher, drying the muddy streets and warming the air. Children play near the well, their laughter a fleeting lightness in a heavy world. Villagers gather, exchanging news and warnings about recent illnesses. Stories of plague and fever spread like wildfire, fueling fear and superstition. You prepare for another day, knowing that clean water is a luxury reserved for the wealthy. The threat of sickness shadows every moment, and yet, you live. Your survival is a testament to endurance in a world fraught with danger. As dusk falls, you carry the last water of the day back to your hut. The weight of the bucket pulls at your arms, a physical reminder of the daily toil. You pour the water carefully, saving a little for the children's washing and your own. You sit by the fire, grateful for warmth and light, but mindful of the risks that come with each sip of water. Tomorrow, the battle continues, and you face it head-on. You stumble into the grim world of medieval medicine, a place where healing is as mysterious as the illnesses themselves. There are no hospitals filled with modern machines or doctors with degrees. Instead, you rely on the village healer, a figure part medicine man, part mystic, armed with potions, prayers, and questionable remedies. Your ailments are met with treatments that range from the bizarre to the brutal. Leeches are applied to suck your blood, believed to draw out sickness but often leaving you weaker. Bloodletting, using knives or lancets, is common, despite historians debating its effectiveness or harm. You might be wrapped in poultices made of herbs, mud, or even animal dung, all intended to soothe or cure. The healer mutters prayers and incantations, invoking saints and spirits to intercede on your behalf. Medicine and religion are intertwined. Healing is as much a spiritual act as a physical one. You wonder if these treatments help or harm, but desperation forces you to try anything. If you survive, it's considered a miracle. If not, you are left to the mercy of God. Some believe certain herbs possess magical properties. Others warn of curses or evil spirits causing your pain. The boundaries between science, superstition, and faith blur. Despite the harshness, the healer's care is a beacon of hope in a bleak world. You accept the risks because without treatment, the odds of survival are slim. The pain, the fear, the uncertainty, all part of your daily battle. Your body is a battlefield, and medicine your fragile weapon. The healer's tools, sharp knives, boiling pots, bundles of herbs are your only hope against the diseases that ravage your village. You watch as others succumb to fevers, wounds, and plagues. Each recovery feels like a small victory against overwhelming odds. Historians still argue about how effective medieval medicine truly was. Some treatments probably did more harm, but others might have offered relief or slowed disease. You cling to hope, praying for health and strength. Every day you live is a triumph. As night falls, you rest under your scratchy blanket, the healer's words echoing in your mind. Tomorrow, you'll face the same dangers, the same treatments, and the same uncertain fate. But tonight, you hold on to hope, and that hope keeps you alive. After a long, grueling day, you shuffle back to your hut, your stomach growling louder than the wind outside. You crave the simple joy of a warm meal, but the harsh truth is, your evening meal offers little comfort. The stew waiting for you is thin, suspicious, and hardly nourishing. It's a pale shadow of the pottage you had this morning, more watery, less satisfying, and just as unappetizing. You settle near the fire, the glow flickering against the rough wooden walls. The bowl in your hands holds a soupy mess, lacking the thick, hearty consistency you hope for. You dip your wooden spoon hesitantly, wary of what might lurk in the depths, bits of grit, half-cooked grains, or perhaps an unexpected chunk of bone. The taste is bland, with a faint bitterness that coats your tongue. Every spoonful is a test of endurance, swallowing not just the food, but the knowledge that this meager meal will have to sustain you through another night. Your neighbors sit nearby, sharing similar bowls and weary expressions. There's little conversation. Everyone is too tired, too hungry, too burdened by the day's labors to speak at length. The air is thick with smoke, sweat, and the lingering aroma of the stew. Outside, the night sounds creep in the distant howling of wolves, the murmurs of the village settling into uneasy rest, and the constant buzz of mosquitoes near the window. Sleep beckons, but won't come easily. Your body aches, your mind is heavy, and the uncertain future weighs on you. Yet this meal, simple and inadequate as it is, remains one of life's few small comforts. Historians debate whether medieval people ever truly enjoyed their food, or if hunger dulled their senses into acceptance. But for you, the meal is a crucial lifeline, a brief reprieve in a harsh existence. You finish your bowl slowly, savoring warmth more than flavor, and prepare for the night ahead. Tomorrow promises more hardship. But for now, you rest. The village quiets, but your thoughts linger on the day's struggles and the meager sustenance that barely fills your belly. You wonder how many before you have faced this same routine, how many have found strength in such simplicity, or how many have succumbed. Despite the bleakness, there is resilience in your bones, a stubborn will to endure. As darkness deepens, you close your eyes, hoping that rest will bring renewal. And when dawn comes, you will face the day once more, armed with little but grit and hope. You are a survivor in a world that offers little else. And though the meal is humble, it feeds more than your body. It feeds your will to live. You can't escape the church bell's relentless call. Religion isn't just part of life, it is life. Every breath, every action is watched over by the church. The calendar, your laws, your education, your birth, marriage, death, all are under its unyielding grip. Missing Mass isn't a simple slip, it's a scandal. Your neighbors will watch, whisper, and sooner or later, someone will rat you out. The church dictates everything, and obedience is enforced with an iron fist wrapped in a velvet glove of piety. You learn early that going against its rules invites not just social scorn, but harsh punishments. Your life's rhythm is synced to the tolling bells, the fasts, the festivals, and the prayers. You remember the priest's stern gaze, the way he pronounces judgment from his pulpit, his words a mixture of salvation and fear. The church's reach is absolute. It governs morality, behavior, and even thought. Historians still argue about how much power the church actually wielded versus the local lords and kings. But in your village, the priest's word is law, his gaze unblinking. Crime here is met with brutal punishment, designed to instill fear and obedience. Stealing a loaf of bread might cost you a hand. Lying can result in having your tongue pierced. Gossiping could see you strapped into the scold's bridle, a cruel iron mask forcing silence and humiliation. You live under constant scrutiny, aware that every misstep could lead to public shame or worse. Yet faith is also a refuge, a source of hope amidst the relentless hardships. The church teaches you that suffering is a path to salvation, that hardship is a test of faith. You cling to these beliefs, finding comfort even in the strictest doctrines. Night falls, and you pray not just for survival, but for mercy, for a life beyond the misery of this world. Your spirit may be battered, but it is not broken. You are a child of faith, living under the watchful eye of an unyielding church. The villagers gather for evening prayers, their voices rising in hymn and supplication. The flickering candlelight casts shadows on worn faces, each marked by toil and worry. The priest leads with fervor, reminding all that God watches, judges, and saves. You join in, the words both a burden and a balm. Religion is your anchor in a stormy sea of suffering. Without it, you might lose hope entirely. As sleep approaches, you feel the weight of your faith settling upon you, a mantle heavy but necessary. Tomorrow, you will rise again, guided by the church's call and the unbreakable rhythm of life. And so it goes. Life here is a stage, and justice is the harshest play. Crime is everywhere, in the marketplace, in the fields, even in church lines. The punishments brutal and public, meant to scare, shame, and control. Steal a loaf of bread, you risk losing a hand. Tell a lie, your tongue may be pierced or cut. Gossip too much, meet the scold's bridle, a heavy iron mask with a bar across the mouth, designed to silence and humiliate. This was no gentle correction, but a spectacle, a public display of punishment meant to crush spirit and enforce order. Historians debate how often such punishments were actually carried out, but records and artifacts tell of the cruelty that lurked behind medieval justice. Fear was a tool wielded freely by lords and priests alike. More serious crimes, heresy, theft, rebellion could bring torture, imprisonment, or death. Trials were often show trials, with outcomes decided before the first word was spoken. The law was as much theater as it was justice. You watch your neighbors live in fear, never knowing when the long arm of the law might reach for them. A whispered accusation, a neighbor's grudge, or a political rivalry could condemn anyone. Yet even amidst this terror, communities band together, seeking fairness, justice, or at least survival. You learn to be cautious with words and actions, knowing that silence can be safety. Despite the harshness, Justice was sometimes sought, however flawed. Local councils, elders, or even the church sometimes intervened to maintain order. You live under this constant shadow, a balancing act of fear and hope, control and resistance. Justice in medieval times was a brutal performance, one that demanded submission and exacted obedience. And you play your part, for better or worse. The village square often becomes a theater for punishment, where crowds gather to witness the fate of the accused. Public humiliation is the law's favored weapon, breaking spirits and reinforcing power. You remember the time a man was brought forth, accused of stealing from the baker. His hand was bound and swiftly cut off. The crowd gasped, then murmured warnings. These spectacles serve as warnings etched into the collective memory of the community. Life here is harsh, unforgiving, and often cruel. Yet, it is the reality, you know. And in this world, justice is survival. As night falls, you reflect on the precariousness of life and law. The line between guilt and innocence blurs, justice and cruelty entwined. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, but for now, you rest in the uneasy peace of survival. Nearly half of the children born into this world will not live to see their 5th birthday. Disease, malnutrition, and the harshness of the seasons claim lives with ruthless efficiency. Vaccines, antibiotics, and modern medicine are centuries away. Your child's survival is a daily gamble, each cough or fever a looming shadow. You've seen families torn apart by influenza, dysentery, and unknown fevers that strike suddenly and with deadly force. The village whispers of these losses, mourning quietly behind closed doors. The grief is shared, yet each loss deepens the fear that grips your heart. Children who do survive infancy enter a world already marked by hardship. Work begins almost as soon as they can walk upright. Play is a luxury few can afford. By age 7, they carry water, tend animals, and learn the skills needed to keep the family alive. By 25, your joints creak like the heavy doors of the monastery. You may be missing teeth, fingers, and the bright optimism you were born with. Life has carved itself deeply into your body and soul. For women, childbirth is a deadly gauntlet. Without modern medicine or sterile environments, many do not survive their own children. Even among the rich, childbirth is fraught with danger. You count each breath, each heartbeat, as a precious gift. Your body is a battlefield, and every day survived is a victory. Historians still debate the precise statistics, but skeletal remains and records confirm the brutal reality of medieval mortality. Yet, amidst despair, there is resilience. Families forge on, communities support each other, and life, against all odds, persists. You are a witness to both the fragility and strength of the human spirit. And though the odds are stacked against you, you endure. You recall the faces of children lost too soon, their laughter silenced, their futures stolen by sickness and hardship. You pray for their souls and for the strength to carry on. Each new life is a miracle, each survival a testament to hope. You hold tight to that hope, even when the world offers little else. Night falls, and you hold your family close. The shadows of loss linger, but the bonds of love and survival are stronger. Tomorrow brings another day, another chance, and you will face it, as you have every day before. When you think of medieval castles, you might imagine grand halls, opulent feasts, and knights in shining armor. But the reality is far less glamorous. Castles were drafty stone fortresses, cold and dark, filled with fleas, smoke, and political intrigue. Luxury was scarce, and danger lurked around every corner. You might have a fur cloak and a goblet of wine, but there's also a 50% chance of dying from a skirmish or an infected splinter. Stone walls kept enemies out, but they also trapped smoke from fires, making breathing difficult. Political marriages were common, often arranged to secure alliances. Wives were expected to produce heirs and serve their husbands, with little say in their own lives. Court life was as much about survival as it was about power. You glimpsed the opulence through the cracks, the tapestries, the gilded cups, but the daily reality was harsh and uncertain. Even nobles were not immune to sickness, poverty, or betrayal. Historians debate the quality of life for medieval nobility, but evidence shows that beneath the grandeur was a world of hardship and intrigue. Life in the castle was a constant balancing act between power, danger, and survival. And in this world, no one was truly safe. You imagine the echoing halls, the flicker of torchlight on cold stone, the whispers of courtiers plotting and scheming. You feel the weight of expectations and fears that pressed upon every noble. The castle, a symbol of strength, was also a prison of sorts. Yet, power was power, and those who held it ruled. As night falls over the castle battlements, you reflect on the contradictions of medieval life, luxury and suffering intertwined. The legacy of this time is complex, a world both brutal and fascinating. And your story is woven into its fabric. You've journeyed through the relentless hardships of medieval life, waking in bug-infested beds, living among the squalor of cramped huts, enduring the bitter chill of unwashed clothes, and battling the ache of decayed teeth. You've faced the merciless sun baking the fields and the deadly gamble of drinking from polluted waters. You've survived the crude, often brutal remedies of medieval medicine, the constant gaze of an unforgiving church, and the harsh punishments meted out by a justice system designed to control through fear. You've witnessed the tragic loss of children, the dangers of childbirth, and the fragile existence of nobles trapped in drafty castles full of intrigue and misery. All these trials weave together into the tapestry of a world that was not made for the weak. Survival demanded unyielding strength, physical, mental, and spiritual. You were required to work endlessly, endure suffering without complaint, and find hope in the smallest moments. To live through just one day was a victory. To endure many was extraordinary. Historians continue to debate the nuances of this brutal era, but the truths are clear. Medieval life was unforgiving and harsh beyond modern imagination. It was a time when the smallest misfortune could become a death sentence, and where resilience was the difference between life and oblivion. As you lay down beneath your scratchy wool blanket tonight, feel the weight of your endurance and the legacy of those who came before you. Their stories of suffering and survival are not just history. They are the foundation of human tenacity and spirit. You probably wouldn't last a day in medieval times, but by listening, by remembering, you honor those who did. Rest now, wrapped in the quiet strength of their stories. Tomorrow is another day, and you have already shown remarkable courage. Good night. Sweet dreams.